Bailey is the Director of Professional Services for RightScale. Welcome to Australia, Bailey. Okay, so you're aware of the environment provisioning automation project that we're doing with one of our large clients at the moment, where we're literally taking over 100 applications, a complex environment, and being able to, with the push of a button, provision that into either a private cloud or a public cloud. To what extent are we seeing that sort of use case in the market?
Yeah, so you've given me some details on this particular client, and I think what's interesting about it is the all-in nature of it. A lot of adoption cycles, as we talked about earlier, start with dev test, put your toe in the water, make sure it works, and then evolve from there into CI and CD. I think obviously they had to have done some toe in the water like experimentation to get to the point where they are, but clearly your team has done a great job bringing them very fast from, hey, we think there's an opportunity for us in this cloud world to improve our agility, right? I mean, that's ultimately what it's about, to saying it's actually so good that we're going to pretty much put the whole company and all our assets from a software and IT perspective into a cloud model. So I think that's, it's unique in the context of how you've actually done it. It's not unique in the context of people's desire. There are a lot of companies that will say, we're all in on cloud and we're cloud first across the board. Actually delivering on that once they get into the trenches becomes a much more difficult challenge. And it relates to what we were talking about earlier with regards to where is Australia in the adoption cycle of cloud. Many businesses out of the US that I've worked with directly have been all in on cloud for years, and they're still not there. And I think that's part, their appetite was larger than their ability to execute. It's also the reality that technology changes so quickly that whatever approach they might have picked 4 or 5 years ago, let's take Zynga for example, where they built their own private cloud, they pulled everything off Amazon. Well, now they're pushing everything back to Amazon because they don't want to recapitalize that asset in their private data center. So the life cycle of technology still exists, right, in a cloud world.
So as solution architect overseeing a complex environment provisioning automation initiative for SuperChoice, can you explain the automation approach that you've taken?
Right, so automation is a complex business process like any and needs appropriate platforms to do that with. There's two main levels of orchestration you're dealing with environment provisioning. One is the fine-grained automation, which is building a server, configuring that operating system, deploying platforms to it, installing applications or databases on those platforms. The next level of orchestration, the high level of orchestration, is pulling that together across a number of different servers that all have different roles to play in an environment. What RightScale provides is a server template at the VM level, which allows you to configure and orchestrate a set of steps to take a VM from a very basic level of operating system deployment through to a fully deployed and configured server able to play a role. The high level orchestration is then met by the cloud application template, which is a workflow engine built into RightScale, which allows you to build a program for all the resources and networks and stages involved in building an environment, supporting an environment, managing it, running separate operations, and then terminating that environment, disposing of it at the end of its life cycle.
So this environment provisioning automation initiative and all your and the team's hard work for SuperChoice has delivered them what benefits exactly?
SuperChoice now has incredible agility compared to their previous scenario. In the past, with the traditional infrastructure, they were extremely constrained with how many things they could do in parallel, how many projects they could run, how many things they could change at the same time, and what they could do for their customers that they're delivering environments for. All of those constraints are now removed. So SuperChoice can now deliver complex environments, including networks, databases, applications, servers, the whole lot, as often as they want, at the push of a button, to whichever cloud they would like to deliver them to. So there are reasons why you need to be able to deliver to different clouds. They have their different strengths. A public cloud gives you an on-demand capability, which is great for a pricing structure that suits what you're doing at development and test time. But in production, you may be running 24/7. You may need to have a different level of security of your information that a private cloud can work very well for and provide a better cost and a better certainty of where your information is and how that's being managed. So both types of deployments are important. Consistency in your delivery pipeline from development through test and production, regardless of which cloud you're deploying to, is critical for DevOps. So for SuperChoice, infrastructure and environment provisioning is no longer a constraint. So what this change allows for SuperChoice is for them as an organisation to spend most of their time and energy delivering new features and functions to the market for their clients and less on infrastructure. What makes an environment disposable is the fact that all of the information necessary to produce an environment is captured and mastered in source code control in a way that allows it to be changed, to be managed, to have visibility and accountability for that change across an organisation. So one of the major benefits of this level of automation and bringing your information back to business IP that can be mastered and managed and changed is that you no longer have quite as many key person dependencies with people knowing how to do things. What you have is an automated manufacturing process which can be understood by anyone who looks at it, and information that can be managed by the owners of that information. So the collateral being captured to provision the environment is corporate knowledge, which is now managed in a way that reduces the business risk significantly. So fundamentally, doing more automation reduces people risk. So bringing back all the information about how you provision the environment to collateral that can be managed and mastered, and people can be accountable for, coupled with a manufacturing process that's repeatable and robust and be used in many different contexts, means that you can start to evolve your organisation away from key person dependencies, people who can do things and need to do things often under pressure at the worst possible time, to automated manufacturing processes. All of these things reduce business risk massively.